All right, guys. So our next topic, I'm proud to say, takes us completely out of any sort of comic book. That's not technically true. There have been comic books of this particular franchise, but it's the Alien franchise, one of my favorite franchises ever. Xenomorph is one of my favorite creature designs, if not my absolute favorite creature design, if I'm being honest. But we back during the Disney investors meeting, like happened, it was like last year at this point, they announced that they were going to be doing an Aliens TV series of some degree, and that Noah Hawley of Fargo and Legion, which I really loved Legion. I had never watched Fargo. I've heard nothing but good things, but nevertheless, he was going to be the showrunner of this Alien series, and I think he's even going to be directing it as well, or at least some of the episodes, if not maybe just the pilot. That's normally what happens with these sort of things, but nevertheless, he's developing it, and we've gotten our first kind of plot details about this Alien series. So I'm just going to read through this here and we'll give our quick thoughts on it. So Noah said, I've written a couple of scripts, the first two scripts, and we're looking to make them next spring. So that was the new bit of information that they're going to hopefully start shooting this stuff next spring. So that's very cool. And then this was with Vanity Fair. So he also hinted that humanity, with its values and contradictions, would be in the spotlight once again. This time, it might also delve into the inequalities of this world by showing the men who ordered the space mission fans saw in the movies. So you will see what happens when the inequality we're struggling with now isn't resolved. So this kind of implies this is going to be taking place after the events of Alien and Aliens and all that stuff. So that's interesting as well. We didn't really know where it was going to be taking place, so that's cool. And then Noah goes on to say that it's not a Ripley story. He said she's one of the great characters of all time, and I think the story has been told pretty perfectly, and I don't want to mess with it. It's a story that's set on Earth also. The alien stories were always trapped in prison, trapped in a spaceship, and I thought it would be interesting to open it up a little bit so that the stakes were more of a what happens if you can't contain it are more immediate. Talking about the xenomorphs and their spread, amongst the earth. Kind of like with the way Jurassic Park's going now with, they're finally, after all this time, they're just loose and they're just everywhere. And you're trying to go through normal everyday life with fucking dinosaurs everywhere. What happens if, the xenomorphs are just here doing the same thing? Could be interesting, kind of like zombies, but with xenomorphs. So, John, you hear this information though too. Do you like the Alien franchise? I don't think we've ever really talked about the Alien franchise too much. So, what do you think about the Alien franchise overall? And then, what do you think about? Are you excited for this show? Nevertheless,
Yeah, I'm not a huge Aliens franchise fan, like in terms of like the fandom of it and the franchise. I really like the first and second Alien movies. I mean, those are great movies. I don't know that I've ever seen the third one. I think I saw the fourth, and I saw Predator versus Alien, which was good. Um, so yeah, I like it. There wasn't, I don't know, for lack of a better way to put it, the things I find myself drawn to or get into a lot are things that have a lot of ancillary things that go along with them. So collectibles that go along with them and things of that nature. There really were never alien figures when I was growing up, so it wasn't like you had alien action figures to collect. There weren't alien comic, but there were, but they were like Dark Horse comic books, which was a smaller company growing up, and so I never read a lot of Alien. But they did Alien. They did Predator and Batman. I'm pretty sure they did Alien Superman comic book. Yeah, there was an Alien Superman comic book that was good that I read back in the day. So anyway, yeah, I like the movies. I have a hard time saying like I'm a huge Alien fan, just because I'm not. But I'm definitely I would be up for seeing an Alien series. I think it would look good. I think that was one of the things that I always had a hard time with, was the fact that like the aliens never made it to Earth. They teased them coming to Earth, but they never actually made it to Earth. So I'd really like to see like an all out. It was kind of like the my same problem with like the Terminator movies. Like the Terminator movies up to a point had always teased like the war between machines and humans, and you never got that war.
Mhm.
You got teases about it, and it never happened. And eventually, I just gave up. I was like, "All right, fine. Well, you're never going to show me this war that you keep talking about. Fine, I'm out." And kind of like the aliens thing, like, doesn't Ripley wake up? Is it aliens? Is it Aliens where she wakes up and
On the hospital
she has
bed,
a
yeah.
dream? Yeah, and but she has a dream about the aliens, like, being on Earth,
Mhm.
and, like, she wakes up and you find out she's not on Earth, and so, like, they're not there, and, like, the story plays out and they never make it to Earth, and, like, and so that kinda thing, like, okay, they're still not there, fine, I'm out, but anyway, so yeah, that's a long way of getting to if they're coming to Earth, I'm definitely in. I'd probably watch it anyway, just because like I said, as long as it's done well, I think I'd like it.
For sure, and that's what, the main reason I've always loved the Alien franchise, so much so, like, I've kind of was literally born into it and had to kind of was forced to like it because supposedly, like, no joke, my mom said that the first Alien movie was the very first movie I ever saw as a child. Like, literally, that was the first movie I watched.
I'm
So
surprised you're not more traumatized. That movie is
oh, dude, I love it. Like, I love like, I have just a like, I've always loved the Alien movies. Like, even
that
even
thing
even though 3 and 4 are fucking dog shit, I watch them. Like, like, they're good. I bought the
that
fucking Blu-ray anthology 4-pack when it came out, like, 10 years ago. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why.
Aliens one of those movies that doesn't have it has a decent sized following, like, people like the movies, it makes money, but it never reached, like, the heights of, like, Star Wars fandom or anything like
Mhm.
that, but yet a lot of people I know have an alien story, like, a story about their first time seeing the first Alien movie and how terrified they were of it. I still remember I went to a Cincinnati Reds game with my dad and my uncle, and we parked in the parking garage, and we were walking into the game, and some reason they were talking about the movie Alien, and my dad was telling the story about his buddy at work who told him it was so scary, like, he got home from the theater watching it. This is a grown man, right? Like, I'm a little kid, and this is my dad who's a grown man and my uncle who's a grown man talking about this movie, and this other grown man that they knew came home from watching this movie and, like, had to sleep with the lights on and open all his closet doors and make sure there was nothing in them. Like, I was just like I was terrified to see it, but I was also, like, desperate to see it at that point. I was probably only, like, 7. It probably took me another 5 or 6 years before I ever got a chance to see it because my parents weren't gonna let me watch it when I was young.
Yeah, I think when my mom had me, like, watch it, I think I was, like, an infant, and she was watching it, and I was there.
She
Like,
just left you in the room, yeah.
yeah, so I was sitting there just watching it, and I imagine it was like I was paying enough attention to the movie for her to, like, literally tell me that it was the first movie I watched. I don't remember watching it when I was, like, 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, but she went on to tell me, like, because when I was, like, a teenager, I liked the Alien franchise and stuff, and then she told me the story, like, "Yeah, that was the first movie you ever watched," and I was like, "Maybe that's why I like it so goddamn much." Like, that makes sense then.
Well,
But yeah, I
that
love
was
the
my hope.
first 2. They're amazing.
That was my hope with my son by showing him The Dark Knight when he was still in the hospital bed day after being born.
Yeah,
So,
it just has it just you it's like you inception them into liking it. That's pretty much what
there you
happened
go.
to me. You just planted the idea of I remember as I watch it, they seem familiar, so I like them
I'm
because I
glad to
watched
know
the
that
movie. Eh Do what?
I'm glad to know that may work.
Yeah, it my theory is that it works. So,
Have you
you can
so
try.
you've seen all the movies, right? Like, from what
Everyone.
I know, 3 wasn't that great, and
3's terrible.
4
They butchered that shit. 4 was really bad, but it was kinda fun to
4 was
watch.
bad.
4 was
Okay.
bad. The 4 had, Winona Ryder in it, and
Yeah.
the 3rd one was weird because it should have been the best one because it was directed by David Fincher, so you'd think, "This is gonna be the best one." But, like, Fox interfered with him heavily on it, didn't pretty much it was a studio interference type of ordeal, and then Sigourney Weaver was going through a phase the way at the time where she was demanded that Ripley could not hold a gun because she was all just anti-gun, like, politically at this point, despite having done the shit in the other movies. So, like, David Fincher was sitting here with, like, Fox down his neck about wanting X, Y, and Z to be done, but then you have Sigourney Weaver taking a stance on where, like, I'm not gonna hold a gun, like, I'm not gonna do this shit. So, like, you never see Ellen Ripley wear a gun or use a weapon of any kind in the third one. Like, it's just it was just a movie that just, had a very bad time being made, and so it ended up being
Okay.
really stupid. Now there's some good stuff in in all of the movies, they all have their moments. There's some interesting things, but none of them capture, like, the first one is just like a straight up horror movie, and the second one's just an action movie that just completely builds
Yeah.
off the lore. The other ones don't really have any sort of identity like that. They're just movies set in that world. But even though you have Ellen Ripley in all of them, they feel very disjointed and disconnected from the other movies at all. Like, they're very strange. But yeah, either way, um,
Did you see Covenant?
I saw Prometheus and Covenant. And I'm one of the few people who actually do like those movies, and I'm kind of bummed that Ridley isn't going to get the chance to actually, like, finish off whatever the hell he was going with David and all
Okay.
that stuff. So, have you
Okay.
watched Prometheus and Covenant?
I watched Prometheus and I actually really liked it. There was one scene that took me out of that entire film. Um, at the end of the movie, there's a giant thing that's rolling at
Yeah, the
characters
ship.
that are running from the ship. Yeah, that's right. The ship is
Mhm.
rolling at the characters, and it's one of those like Looney Tunes type segments where I'm yelling at internally. I'm yelling at the screen. I'm saying,
Turn left.
"Just run right or left."
Yep.
Like, why are you running the same direction? Just go right or left, and you're absolutely fine. But they're running with the thing, and it pulled me completely out of the movie at the end of it. And unfortunately, that's like the thing that stuck with me about it. I think I liked the rest of it up until that point, though. I was like pretty interested in seeing like because I had always heard it was like an alien kind of maybe possibly tie-in. And then I never saw Covenant, so I'm not sure how they
Mhm.
end up tying that all together.
Well, it did end up being, like, it's the origin of everything, which was the
Okay.
biggest problem of it. Surprisingly, it actually did decent at the box office, but it would have done twice as good if they actually marketed the movie as being an alien
Alien
movie.
prequel?
Yeah, because they don't. And at the very end, you see, in one of the creator dudes, I think they called them the creators, but the big, tall, white dudes, the humanoid
Yeah.
aliens that are there, um, at the very end, a xenomorph comes out of them, and it's like the supposed to be the first gen xenomorph thing. Like, it's not quite a
Okay.
xenomorph, but it's that same design. It's a xenomorph,
Now that
and
now
it
that you
goes
mention it,
on.
it's coming back to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's expounded on in the next movie. It, like, I actually don't remember if this made it in the movie or if it starts out like this or the scene was cut, but, like, you have David, the robot there, um, Michael Fassbender's character.
Fassbender's character. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like he goes to the world of the creator dudes and unleashes the xenomorphs and stuff, and, like, then, like, it just I don't know, it keeps going. You don't see, like, what happens with all that, but David becomes the person who is experimenting with, like, the gene splicing and developing the xenomorph as they come to be, essentially, is what it like, it
Okay.
loosely it ends up being. So, like, Covenant wasn't really all that great, but I was curious to see where the hell they were going, like, because obviously, like, it was at least made by Ridley Scott, I mean, it was finally Ridley Scott coming back to the world that he created, so, like, I wanted to see where he was going with it all, because the Covenant, ends with, like, I mean, you saw that in the trailers, like, that is an alien movie. It's fucking called Alien Covenant, like, like,
Yeah.
xenomorphs are in the movie, so I wanted to see where they were still going with it, because, like, it's it's not the end, so, like, I don't know. I wanna
Well,
but
getting back to this series, is there been anything released? Like, does any of that tie into the series? Are they going to Are they gonna is are they considering that canon as far as the series is going, or are they gonna kinda disregard what took place in those movies?
They're as far as I know, they're not really gonna be doing anything that's going to be addressing them. If I'm remembering correctly, Noah Hawley is working with Ridley Scott as far as, like, he's gonna be producing it, like, Ridley is producing it, but
Okay.
Noah Hawley's writing it, but, like, from this article, it seems like it's taking place after the events of Alien 1 and 2, so it would be completely disconnected from Prometheus because that happens, like, if I remember correctly, like, thousands of years before if not thousands, like, a couple 100 years before the events of Alien and Aliens. So
Okay.
I don't see why or how they would expound upon. I mean, maybe Ridley could, like, kinda, like, make Noah, like, finish his arc with Covenant just to, like, kind of explain a vision where he was gonna go with things, like, he could have, like, some human characters uncover some shit that would help further
Information
explain
about
it.
the
Yeah.
information about the big beans or
Mhm. Like
the
something.
white beans or David's character. I mean, he was an android, right?
Yeah, he could still be around, you never really know.
He could come back or his consciousness, 'cause his
His AI could
KI
be out there, yeah,
could be
they could
brought back, yeah.
reactivate him, yeah, something, so,
Yep.
I wouldn't hate that because I actually like the David character and everything. I love Michael Fassbender too, so, I mean, that helps,
Yeah.
but, so, I mean, I wouldn't hate that by any means. We'll just have to see. I just love aliens, so, like, and like you said, I've always wanted to see them just kinda on Earth and doing their thing. It was teased in
Mhm.
at AVP, they literally teased that shit, and then in the next one you don't really get that. Like, it doesn't really happen. I barely remember AVP 2, and if I'm remembering correctly, the only thing I liked about AVP at all was at the very end, we got this motherfucker here, the Predalien. This is, like, the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever created, like, this was so awesome. You got this thing, and then I think you further see it, you see I think it's in AVP 2 because this happens right at the very end. This thing is, like, born in AVP, and then the Predalien is actually in AVP 2. I don't even remember AVP 2, it was so bad. So, I actually wanna rewatch it now because I wanna see the Predalien, but I just want more of this. You know what they should have done with the Predators movie? Threw a Xenomorph in at him instead of those Predator dogs, you know what I mean? That would've been cool,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
like, 'cause you gotta think, the way they set up the Predators movie, they grabbed all, like they like to hunt things, so they get the best killers from all these worlds, and they put them down there and hunt them. That means you gotta throw Xenomorph in there, dude. Like,
Yep.
they're the best hunters of them all. They kill predators,
Definitely.
like, that would've been cool. That's what
Huh.
the AVP movie should have truly been. It should have been the aliens, like, David, for instance, drops the fucking aliens on the predator planet and just fucking leaves and just makes them deal with it, like 'cause that's essentially what
Uh-huh.
David was up to. He just wanted to, like, study the Xenomorph, so
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm excited for it nevertheless because I loved Legion as well. So, like, I think Noah Hawley is very, very talented writer and everything. Like, I fucking love Legion. So, anything he's attached to, I'm bummed because he was also developing a Doctor Doom movie that's never gonna happen now, probably never gonna happen now. So, I would have liked to have seen that happen. And even though he did talk to Kevin Feige about the Doctor Doom movie, I doubt it's ever gonna happen. So, but nevertheless, you got anything else you wanna add about the alien thing?
No, I think that was about it.
Okay, cool. Well, question is, guys, what do you think about this? Are you excited for the Alien movie? Do you even like the Alien franchise? Because it's safe to say that most people unanimously like Alien and Aliens, and then it kind of falls off from there. I find something to like in all of them because I like Xenomorphs so much. And I like Predators a lot too. So like anytime, like I'll watch AVP 2. I don't have to like it, but I'll watch it. You know, there's some good stuff in it. Anytime the creatures are on screen, everything normally works. So, and I actually like Prometheus and Covenant on the good parts. You know, I liked where it was going. So, whatever you guys think, are you excited for this? You excited that the aliens are going to be on Earth? Whatever you think, let us know down in the comment section below.